On today's show, defense is finally a strength for the Ottawa Senators.
And we continue our organizational value rankings with some new prospects in our prospect tier.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome! You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today is Monday, September 8th, and Pillsy, it is the unofficial start of the Senators season. Their annual charity golf tournament is underway, and now we wait for the rookies to hit the ice later this week.
All right, nice. What's our over-under on saying Sens are back or it's officially time to get excited for hockey? I say we should get around 3 of them. So I would say you used 1 there.
No.
So you get 2 more.
No, and I've already used 1 as well when they did the media event last week and there were interviews posted with Jordan Spence and Brady Tkachuk. Okay. I think that counts. I also think this counts.
I think you're probably going to need around 5.
Well, then there's going to be the rookie tournament. Then there's going to be the first preseason game. And then there's the first regular season game. So
start of camp doesn't do it for you?
Yeah, start of camp does it too. So add that to the list. It'll be back quite a bit.
Hey, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I'm just trying to keep track of how many times the Sens can be back.
Yeah, for those watching on YouTube, you saw Pillsy like, wait, we're starting the show with the Sens are back. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, I was not sure. But yes, I'm with you. The golf tournament is a big Sens are back moment. So yeah, I'm down.
And you know what else is cool? The Ottawa Senators players have taken it upon themselves to all come in super early. I know Brady Tkachuk mentioned in his media availability last week, they had their fantasy football draft and everything a week ago. So camp doesn't start for another week. So that's a good amount of time. I'm sure the Sensplex is buzzing. There'll be photos of plenty of guys camped out waiting to cross paths, get a photo, all that. But the boys are back in town and ready to step back on the ice. And one of the most encouraging signs throughout the offseason was the minor change that was made. And it might not be so minor in terms of the impact that it makes. Out is Travis Hamonic. In comes Jordan Spence via trade, only giving up a 3rd and a 6th round pick to do that. Is this the first time in recent memory that the defensive core of this team will be a strength for the Ottawa Senators?
Yes, definitely. I think hindsight is 2020, but I think the season, I'm getting my years mixed up, but going into the season where Jacob Chychrun was a part of this team, I think we really thought that defense would be a strength. I mean, the left side being Sandy, Chabot, and Chychrun, that sounds great, and it should have been better than it was, but I would agree that this now finally is a legit D-core, and there's nobody on the back end where you're like, oof, not sure if he's going to work out there or what his role is. Really, I mean, well, maybe there's some confusion on some guys' roles, but it's a good problem type of thing.
Yeah, and it's competition in camp.
Exactly.
And Steve Stay was saying there will be some PTOs. I'm not sure if defense will be the area that we see a professional tryout. I'm sorry, Kalen Addison, we do not need to see you again this preseason. But if you're watching on YouTube as well, we've pulled up the Sens depth chart. This is just NHL, AHL. So hold the firing at me for not putting Logan Hensler on here. He's preparing for his season with the University of Wisconsin. But man, that top 6 is sharp. Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub, Thomas Chabot with Nick Jensen, Tyler Clevin with Jordan Spence, and then you've got Nicholas Matenpalo on a one-way contract as your extra defenseman. Like, it's got offense, it's got defense, it's got size, it's got physicality, it's got puck movement. They've got a little bit of so many different ingredients. You just got to make sure it's well-seasoned and guys are getting their minutes.
Yeah, I think the real question for how are guys going to get their minutes and how is things going to line up is Nick Jensen, right? Like, we're not sure how healthy he is, where he's at in his progress, what his expected time to return is. I mean, Ross, we could be talking about this and maybe he's ready to go come regular season. I don't know. Likely not, but he's the real kind of question mark here. And that's why the Ottawa Senators went out and got Jordan Spence so that they could have a guy that they feel can play at least some top 4 minutes while Jensen could be out.
And then there's the ace up the Senator's sleeve in Carter Yakimchuk.
Yeah, I know it's boring and maybe classic patient pillsy. It's a lame answer, but I'm not expecting too many games played for Carter Yakimchuk. I do like the idea of him getting a taste near the start of the season, but I really think the best option for Yakimchuk and the Ottawa Senators is for him to play majority of his time in Belleville in the AHL.
Agreed, but it is just a fun little wrinkle to the fact that the one question mark surrounds a right shot defenseman who's 35 years old. And then you've got this young buck who's coming into pro hockey after making a very strong first impression last year at training camp. So that's got to be good for the confidence of Carter Yakimchuk, but he's going to likely, he could go back to junior, highly doubtful. Most likely.
He can't. Let's get into that. If they send him back to junior, Ross, I feel like that is a
slap in the face.
Yeah, that's them being like, we don't think you're even close. And I don't think that's going to happen. And that would not be a good move, in my opinion. But it is technically possible.
More likely, of course, that Matthew Andonovski goes back to be the captain once again in Kitchener. We do not have Andonovski on here. I wanted to kind of make it guys who could legitimately be called up to the NHL this season. So the one name that is omitted on here just because of space is Jabril Toure, who we just covered in our organizational value rankings on Friday's show. I love Jabril Toure, but I think Cam Crotty being 26 years old could be a more likely, like 1 game, 2 games. You need a guy to come up and be able to clear waivers as well on the way back down. Cam Crotty, good Ottawa boy, could be just that. And it would make for a nice little feature on TV as the hometown boy could get his debut with the Ottawa Senators. But where I was going with that, Pillsy, with Carter Yakimchuk is he's one of many youth movements with the Belleville Sens on the blue line, like Jorian Donovan. He's over 100 games now, or close to it. Am I right with his pro career? Or no, that was his rookie year. So 70, and he got a taste. So
I think it was in the 60s.
He's going to be a guy who I think is going to come in next year and try to like make more of an impact. And then Hamara as well. We talked about him. I'm curious to see how the old meets the young. And old, I'm putting in quotations. Sabrango's 23 years old, but he's a veteran pro hockey player. Same with Lassie Thompson, who's 24, 25 years old. So they're all really young down there. There's guys with different levels of experience, but is that somewhere? Like, I kind of blew it off, but like, is that somewhere where you think the Sens could add a PTO of a guy who could eventually be a defenseman in Belleville this year?
No, I don't think so, Ross, just because like we're running out of spaces here. Like we already talked about it, Jabril Toure, Matthew Andonovski, those guys are not featured on this list. And maybe Ando goes back to junior. Maybe he's in the ECHL. Maybe Toure spends a lot of time in the ECHL. We don't really know here. It is concerning how young that decor is, but young doesn't always mean inexperience. Like you mentioned, like Thompson has a good chunk of pro experience. Donovan has that first full year under his belt. Sabrango's got good pro experience. So, and then you bring in a guy like Cam Crotty, who he's Captain, the oldest guy. He's the oldest guy on this decor. That's for Belleville. That's crazy.
No Hubert Labrie this year, eh?
Yeah, I would have liked for them to go get a like guy in his early 30s that just plays a mean physical game, but you do have Jabril Toure that can bring that aspect. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And if I'm Thomas Hamara, like you're really looking like last year they had to send me back to junior. Essentially, I got to find a way to carve a role for myself. So I don't think adding another defenseman to Belleville makes a lot of sense right now.
So Belleville's defense, in all expectedness is going to be Donovan Sabrango with Carter Yakimchuk, Jorian Donovan with Lassie Thompson, and Tomas Hamara with Cam Crotty or Jabril Toure. But with Ottawa, what do you think the special teams assignments will be for the defensemen in Ottawa? Obviously, at this point, Jake Sanderson's quarterbacking the first power play, Thomas Chabot the second power play. What other roles? Like, would you think or consider going 2 defensemen on the second power play and getting Jordan Spence some extra minutes?
No, I don't think so, Ross. There's just too many good forwards to have 2 defensemen on a second power play unit. Like, think about it last year, Ross. We were trying to find ways to get other forwards more time on the power play.
Pinto.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't foresee that happening. I want Zub to be a big part of the penalty kill. I'd certainly want him on that first penalty kill. I want Clevin to be a part of the second penalty killing unit. Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, I know Chabot and Jensen were the guys on the second penalty killing unit, but I'd rather have Clevin get a little bit more of that role. And now that he's had more time in the NHL and he really developed nicely last season, I'd like to see that be something that Coach Green really shows Clevin, hey, we're going to work on this and we're going to continue to create a physical shutdown defenseman in you. So we're going to give you a little bit of an expanded role killing penalties as well. Yeah, I think that's how your roles are going to line up special teams wise for the defenseman.
And that leads us to tease tomorrow's show, where we will discuss the Ottawa Senators power play units and how we would roll them out. Thursday is going to be the penalty kill. We got a Sens Central Citizen on Wednesday. And yes, that means we are back full-time 5 days a week here, Locked On Senators, Monday through Friday. Shout out to the everydayers, our Sens Central citizens riding with us as we approach the NHL season. Who is representing the Ottawa Senators at the NHL Media Tour? Always a fun event in Vegas, and things come out throughout the year, little content pieces. We've got the answer to that next, and we'll get to our organizational value rankings. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here. Week 1 is almost done. 1 game tonight. And FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you want to bet. You want to do player props, passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, kicking. You got it. You want to build a same game parlay, Pillsy's parlay of the day. I always mix one of those in, or jump in live as the action unfolds. Live betting for Bills Ravens last night would have been insane. I went to bed early. I thought the game was over, woke up, the Bills somehow win by 1 point. Wild stuff. And you can get it even more exciting by getting onto FanDuel. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Thursdays, Sundays, or Mondays. So are you ready to play, guys? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Well, one thing about the NFL season is you want to watch it with friends. And you can do that at the GLEBE Central Pub. This episode is brought to you by the GLEBE Central Pub. You know we love our friends over at 779 Bank Street. It's walking distance from Lansdowne. So if you're going to check out, speaking of football, the Ottawa Red Blacks, you can get lubed up for the game beforehand, and you can wind down afterwards with all the great vibes that they got at the GCP. It's the place where the vibes are free. And we got breaking news here. No shuttle for the preseason because they're getting the wheels ready to roll to the CTC for the home opener. Tickets will be available soon on the website, GLEBECentralPub.com. Then click on events. While you're there, you will also see the great events that are happening at the GCP. Trivia night every Tuesday at 6:30. Taco Thursdays, pork and slaw, crispy fish, shredded beef, all $5 each with a minimum order of 2. Wing nights on Mondays. They've got soup and sandwich combos on weekdays till 4. They got everything going on and live music, no cover ever, every Saturday night. So go check out our friends at the GCP. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. The vibes are free at the GCP. All right, Pilsy, we are fired up for the Ottawa Senators to start their season. Oh my goodness. I know it's on the road. It's going to be in Tampa, then in Florida, but every road leads to Ottawa for that Thanksgiving afternoon game against the Nashville Predators. Just want to point this out. This was awesome because I'm talking about GLEBE Central Pub, Pilsy. You never know what you're going to see there. Did you see what they posted on their Instagram, GLEBE Central Pub, yesterday?
I saw a trophy was there. I'm not the golf guy on this episode, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I'm the golf guy. That's high.
Well, I mean, you've been wearing a Cabot hat the last week.
Yeah, I have. Now, this year's PGA of Canada champion popped by the GCP with his trophy, Craig Stefuric. Absolute beauty. So go check out the GLEBE Central Pub. We love our friends there. And go check out the Ottawa Senators Instagram, their Twitter today, all their social medias. They're all over this golf tournament. It's great to see everyone back smiling, kissing babies, as you will, with the sponsors and everybody who is out there for a great day. But one Ottawa Senator is not there, Pilsy. Do you know the answer to which Senator is in Vegas right now?
I do. It's Linus Ullmark, and that's got to be a weird feeling, Ross, because obviously you're like, oh, sweet, like I've been chosen to represent my team for this tour, but you're on an island, the island of Las Vegas, on your own while all your teammates are golfing and chumming it up and having a good time together. So that's I feel a little bad for Linus Ullmark missing out on this.
Last one was Shane Pinto, right? Last year he went?
I think so, yeah.
And Brady Tkachuk's gone in the past. I think Jake Sanderson went one year, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Okay.
And Timmy did the one in Europe, but
yeah.
Timmy hasn't been to the one over here. That photo of him with the Eiffel Tower in the background is so funny. So funny. We're not going to be talking about any of those guys on today's organizational value rankings because we're working our way up from 65 all the way up to number 1. But this is going to be the final portion of our prospect tier. So we'll pull up after we do all of our profiles today where we're at right now, because the next tier is Belleville. These are AHL players who have turned pro and have earned the right to be ahead of the prospect. So I just wanted to note that there are some players here that have moved down, I would say substantial amount, but I don't think it's really reflective. I think more so we decided that if you're playing in the American Hockey League, you're further along than a prospect. So as we look at this line graph, Pilsy, it kind of makes sense that if you're developing in the right direction, you're kind of climbing the tiers, and the tier after junior is the AHL.
Yeah. It's tough to nail down value of these middle round prospects where they're having good seasons and they're developing along their own path at the right pace, but they're just so far away from being an NHL player that we thought to give the AHL guys a bit of an edge as far as rankings and value goes. But it's not to say that these guys are disappointing at all.
No, it's not. These guys are extremely, well, I shouldn't say extremely, but they're potentially valuable pieces of the organization going forward. So let's get to that next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. All right, Pilsy, and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day, Monday through Friday. We are back, which means the Senators will soon follow for what could be another step towards the Stanley Cup. Pilsy, let's get to our organizational value rankings, and if you've missed any of them, we will be ending each show until the list is complete with at least 3, but typically between 3 and 5 profiles. And the last few have caught my attention for sure. I'm feeling like I'm in the area now where we're talking about Jabril Toure. Blake Vanek scores a shootout goal in his preseason WHL debut. But in today's profiles, Pilsy, these are players that I think could make huge impacts where they're playing right now. And with that, let's get to number 48 on our organizational value rankings. It's Big Gabe. Gabe Eliason. After being 38th last year, he's down 10 spots, but he's looking down at everyone else, standing 6'7", 212 pounds, just turned 19 years old. He's a left shot defenseman that loves violence.
Yeah, definitely. Gabe Eliason is a fascinating hockey prospect because we always talk about it. The things that he does well, he's in a tier of his own: violence, physicality. But the rest of his game, it's got some work to do to come along to make him an all-around solid defenseman prospect. But he's in a good spot. I think it was such a good decision for him to go to the OHL, to go to the Barrie Colts, because he was committed to Michigan, right? That was
he
the school.
Would have been suspended in the first game.
First shift, dude. Like, it would have been, I don't even know if he would have made it through warmups, let's be honest. But in 63 games with the Colts last year, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. The points are never going to be what we judge Eliason on. He finished a +2, 116 PIMs, and he had 16 playoff games, 0 goals, 0 assists, -3, 18 penalty minutes. So Ross, he did a good job in the playoffs, keeping it clean. Only 18 PIMs in 16 games.
Yeah, that's it. Only 9 minor penalties in 16 games. But you're right, and Elite Prospects noted that in their organizational piece that they did of the top Sens prospects. It was actually, I sent you the write-up, and I said this is a very rosy write-up of Gabe Eliason because they've been hard on him in the past. And even though between the regular season and the playoffs, he finished with 134 penalty minutes, only 28 of those came in the last 31 games. So even towards the end of the regular season, he was figuring it out. And obviously they got a great coaching staff. It's a really prestigious OHL organization there in Barrie. I think that's fair to say. So him going back there for a second season can only help his development. So I'm excited to see now that he's got 63 regular season games. Obviously the playoff run they went on, unfortunately ending with a tough series against the Oshawa Generals where they lost 3-1, 7-1, 7-6, and 8-4. Sounds almost like a tennis match score there. But yeah, we'll see what's next with Gabe Eliason, but we know what he's going to be. He knows what he's going to be at the next level. The goal for me, for him this year, continue to stay disciplined, but without losing the physicality, the thing that you do best, and make that World Junior team, man. Make that World Junior team. I think that would be huge for his confidence as well.
Yeah, we really got to see him on Sweden's World Junior team. And hopefully, Ross, he continues to be paired up with Sean Aitchison. I think that's a good partner to have if you're Gabe Eliason. And man, opponents going up against those two, you're going to have bumps and bruises every single shift.
Yes, you will. And Gabriel Eliason comes in at number 48 overall on our organizational value rankings. He's down 10 spots. The 2024 second round draft pick, who was 39th overall. Coming in at number 47 on our organizational value rankings, it's Luke Ellenis. Eliason Ellenis. Yeah, stay with me here. Also a 2024 draft pick. This in the 4th round. Maybe the round of the century, some are saying, for the Ottawa Senators. Ellenis is 6'1", 185 pounds, 19 years old, plays center, plays wing. We think we're probably leaning towards seeing him as a winger in pro hockey, but time will tell. He's a left shot, and he's down 6 spots from last season.
Which is crazy to me, Ross, that we have him down spots because he had a great season. I mean, especially when you stack his seasons together. His rookie year with the Kitchener Rangers, he had 33 points in 67 games. This year, as an assistant captain of the Rangers, in 50 games, so 17 less games, 4 more goals, same amount of assists, and he goes from a +8 to a +16. But where Ellis really shined was that postseason. 14 games, 16 points, over a point per game guy. And I think he's going to have another great season with the Kitchener Rangers here. He did have an injury. Was it a broken arm or a broken leg?
Don't know.
He broke something, but he was able to come back and be stronger than ever, it seemed, in the playoffs. So I'm really fired up about Luke Ellis, Ross. I think that he's going to be a guy that, as we watch him develop and as he gets to Belleville, I can see him turning into a nice player.
Well, and clearly the Senators believe that, because in May they agreed to terms on a 3-year entry-level contract with LNS. So he's going to be the lone player, at least for now, that's signed with the organization but playing in junior hockey. I think that tells you what they think of him as a potential player for them down the road. So keep an eye on Luke Ellis, who was also an Ottawa Senators fan growing up in the heart of enemy territory. So, we're fired up about that. But great season for him. He was really the guy I was referencing, saying he dropped spots, but ultimately probably shouldn't have based on the seasons that he had. But you gotta give some respect to those guys who have already made the jump to pro hockey and are contributing there. But Luke Ellis down a few spots, but don't take it personally. This is a guy who can bounce back up here next season. Just stay healthy, do your thing, and let's get Kitchener back to where they belong atop the OHL, right, Pilsy?
Yeah, hey, I'm a Kitchener Sens guy, a Guelph Storm guy at heart, but with all these Senators connections, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Rangers now.
Luke Ellis was drafted 104th overall in the 2024 draft. He comes in at number 47 on our organizational value rankings, down 6 spots. Now let's get to number 46 on our organizational value rankings, Javon Moore, also from that 2024 4th round. Javon Moore will be attending the University of Minnesota this upcoming season. He'll be a freshman there after having a nice season with the Sioux Falls Stampede in the United States Hockey League. He's down 7 spots on our list, but he's growing like a weed. We have him at 6'4" here, 195 pounds, but he told me in our interview this summer that he was 6'2" at the NHL Scouting Combine and that he's 6'5" now. He's a left wing, left shot, and has all the potential to be an NHL power forward.
Oh, yeah. Javon Moore's skill set is so exciting and just a classic Minnesota guy, Ross. Played Minnesota high school hockey, then finds his way to the University of Minnesota. He's following the correct path here, and he had a nice season with the Sioux Falls Stampede in the USHL last year. 56 games, 17 goals, 22 assists, +11, only 10 PIMs. So for a guy of his size that can have that physicality, he keeps it clean out there.
Yeah, he does. And I think it's also really worth noting that Javon Moore was ranked 5th by elite prospects on the Senators prospect list. Like, that to me is eye-opening, because it felt like, the numbers don't pop off the page. And their lead line is, it was a great year for Javon Moore by every barometer other than points. Regularly his team's best player, NHL caliber tools, dynamic abilities, faking opponents. There's a considerable turnover with the Minnesota Gophers as well. So there could be some real opportunity for him to take another step. So he's a prospect that we were excited about right off the bat after the draft in Vegas. But I also just see his stock kind of rising. So it's interesting that he's down 7 spots. Again, we told you why. But overall, this is a player that I'm going to be keeping my eye on throughout this season. I hope he gets proper opportunity with the Gophers as a true freshman. I shouldn't say true freshman, because 19, I feel like true freshman, you have to be 18 years old. But that's neither here nor there. What would to you be a successful first college season for Javon Moore?
I'd say I'm looking at double-digit goals and assists. I think that's fair, somewhere in the 20-point range.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep that in mind as we watch Javon Moore make his debut with the Minnesota Gophers, 112th overall in 2024, and he comes in at number 46 on our organizational value rankings, down 7 spots. Coming in at number 45, it is Bruno Ejon, this was quite the selection in the 6th round of the NHL draft this year. Overager for the draft, so he's 19 years old. He's 6 feet tall, 194 pounds. He'll be heading to the University of Wisconsin. And I don't think he's going to replicate these offensive numbers, Pilsy, but it'd be cool if he did.
Yeah, I mean, he came to the USHL just firing on all cylinders in 36 games, 22 goals, 22 assists for 44 points, a plus 27. I think it's good that he has kind of graduated from the USHL to the NCAA. And it's crazy, Ross, that before this, like his path, and go check out our interview with him to get the full story. But just quickly, going from being a Croatian-born guy to playing in Slovenia, then going to Sweden as a teenager, then things not really working out for him. HV71, he goes to Malmo, then it doesn't work out for him in Malmo. So he decides, I'm going back home. I'm playing hockey in Croatia. Nobody does that. And then he lights it up there, gets his confidence back, goes to the USHL, dominates, and now he's with the Wisconsin Ross. Bruno is, I would like to officially declare him as one of my guys. I'm going to be following along. I love his energy. He seems like such a fun kid. He's got a really well-rounded skill set, in my opinion. So the fact that he is one of the 4 Sens prospects on the Wisconsin Badgers is just so exciting.
Oh, it's so cool. I loved his story, and I love the way that he came over, like not even over, when he came to Slovenia to play, he was just like already set on like, I'm going to be the best at this. And he goes in, he's 15 years old. He's playing U17, even gets an opportunity to play in the U19 league. And he's so good. They're like, you know what? Go over to Sweden. Pilsy, as a 16-year-old, he was playing in U16 as well, but he's also playing in the J18. This is a 16-year-old playing the J18. What was Gretzky's record? 50 goals in 39 games, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Bruno Ejon in a 2-year older category in Division 1 in Sweden had 50 goals in 35 games. This guy, and at that point, you got to be like, hey, I'm going to be an offensive threat. And I think this is really cool for Ottawa's prospect pool because they don't have that many just high-flying, offensive, creative talent, and Bruno is all that.
Yeah, he definitely is. So I think he's going to have a good role in Wisconsin. I think it's a great landing spot for him. And yeah, like you can see in this picture of him celebrating a goal, like this guy's got the passion for the game, and he's excited for this opportunity.
The first ever Croatian-born NHL draft pick. Will he become the first ever Croatian-born NHL player? Time will tell. But the 6th round draft pick of the 2025 draft will be playing at Wisconsin. We just hope that he gets a proper role here to start things off. I don't want to see him on the 4th line. You got to let Bruno get his role as an offensive catalyst. And we'll see if he gets that. He comes in at number 45 on our organizational value rankings. Coming in at number 44, we got a little run here on goalies to wrap up today's show. Kevin Riedler, 6'7", 209 pounds, 21 years old, and he's got the coolest graph so far that we've done. He's been in the organization since 2022, Pilsy, and he's gotten a little bit higher every single year.
Yep, that's the kind of growth you want to see. And Ross, am I wrong in saying that Kevin Riedler could be one of your guys? I feel like he's a guy you're really high on and excited about.
Yeah, you know what? I am excited about Kevin Riedler. I just think that he's one of those guys, and maybe it's a bit of the Mads thing too without the injuries, but these tall goalies that are enormous take a little bit longer, but the payout could be legit. So I'm so happy he transferred, though. Like, It was unfortunate. And the situation he was in Omaha, like, I get it. They had their starter. He'd been there for the last couple of years. He's back actually again this year, obviously, why Riedler decided to change programs. But, like, dude, he had 8 games last year. Like, how are you supposed to get into any sort of rhythm when you're playing that little? He played, like, 1 game a month for the last couple.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And like the fact that he was still that good when he was sparingly used, he had a 4-1 record.
And sorry, just to
go ahead.
Emphasize your point, his numbers were this good, and in 1 of 8 games, he was brought in for the final period of mop-up duty in an 11-2 loss. He allowed 4 goals on 13 shots and still had that good of numbers in that small of sample size.
Yeah, true. If he was able to take that game out, his numbers would even look even better.
Ridiculously better.
He had a .920 save percentage. Like, he was
I'm going to find out.
Solid guy.
That's what I do for my guys, Pilsy. I'm going to find out what it would be without that.
Oh boy, we're doing math on the fly on this show. Great. Tune in for the next 20 minutes. Ross going to figure this out. And me saying yup to whatever answer he gives me, not checking it. But Kevin Riedler, like, this guy's got the size and he's got the opportunity now going to Penn State University. I mean, we talk about it, Ross. That's the reason why Gavin McKenna decided to go there. He's like, I got a good situation with a good, big starting goalie here.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, but what I love about Kevin Riedler too is just he commands the net so well, and obviously we haven't seen it as much as we did in the USHL 2 years ago when he played 39 games and was unreal in the playoffs with a .934 save percentage, but I just feel like this is going to be such a perfect place for him to play this year, and there's going to be, I think, a lot more media attention, if you will, broadcast. Penn State's going to be on ESPN quite a bit. And hey, sometimes it's okay to be the backup dancer. I know Gavin McKenna is the reason for all that, but you can catch people's attention, especially when you're playing the most important position. There's nowhere to hide out there if you're Kevin Riedler. The expectation is going to be that he's going to have these types of numbers, if not better, next year.
And Ross, this is a pivotal year for Kevin Riedler's career, because these Senators hold his rights until 2026. So this is kind of like,
wow,
all right, let me show you what I can do, and let's evaluate where I'm at once I've had a proper chance on a better team and in a better role.
Yeah, that's a great point, because when you think about Kevin Riedler, you're like, okay, like he's still got so much time, right? Not really.
Yeah, not necessarily. And this could be a guy, Ross, where if he doesn't feel like he's getting the opportunities in North America, not to say this, this is just my opinion, not trying to put words in his mouth, but I don't see why he wouldn't consider going back to Sweden for opportunities if things don't pan out in North America, because he could carve out probably a good career for himself otherwise.
Yeah, I hope that it's in the Sens organization, but I could also see him taking the Marcus Hogberg path where he does sign, then goes to Europe, and then finds his way back. But Pilsy, people want answers on this show, not just questions. 8 games, .920 save percentage. If you take out that one period that he played against Denver, his save percentage of the season would be .935.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a .692 save percentage that game. So yeah, getting that out of the way would be great. And that's the most goals he allowed.
Yeah.
All year was just that one period, 4 goals. The other ones 3-1-1, 3-1, 4-2-2. So like, he's solid. I'm excited about Kevin Riedler as well, Ross. We've had him on the show. He's a great kid.
Yeah, let's do it, and let's see the best graph that we've done so far. Just slow and steady. So the goal for Kevin Riedler is get to the top 40 for next year, right?
Yeah,
let's get into the top 40. Kevin Riedler comes in at number 44, the 5th-round pick, 151st overall in the 2022 draft. And Kevin Riedler was second on our prospects tier. He's also the second goalie, because at the top of this tier is 2025 4th-round pick Luka Beckman, 18 years old, 6'2", 183 pounds. He snatched the starting position in Baie-Comeau last year as a 17-year-old. I cannot wait to see what he's got up his sleeve for an encore.
Well, I mean, Ross, we can kind of look at this similar to Kevin Riedler, right? Like his first year in the queue for Beckman, only 9 games all year. But when he played, he dominated, and then he got a big opportunity this past season in 52 games, a .265 goals against, .914 save percentage, 31-18-2 record with 4 shutouts, and he shined in the playoffs too in 11 games, .257 goals against, and a .922 save percentage. So he's going to be the starter, the guy, the number one guy for the Drakkar in the Q League. And Beckman might have been the best value pick the Ottawa Senators got in the 2025 draft. Like, for how highly regarded he is on online scouting circles, and EP did their was it EP of the Athletic did their list of top 20 goalie prospects not in the NHL, and he made that list as a guy that was picked in the 4th round at 97th overall. Like, I'm so excited that they have the opportunity to get this guy. And I've been saying it, Ross, let's bring back that French-Canadian goaltending revolution, and Luca Beckman is going to lead the charge.
Unfortunately for Luca Beckman, this is the deepest that Canada has been in years for World Junior options. Every projection that I've seen, whether it's our friend Cam Robinson over at Elite Prospects or our friend Scott Wheeler over at The Athletic, they've got it pretty set that it's Carter George, who was there last year. Jack Ivankovic, we like him as a goaltender. We're talking about him in the draft. And Josh Ravensbergen, who was, I believe, either a late 1st or early 2nd round pick.
Late 1st.
At this draft. So he's going to have his hands full to make that team. But I think as long as he's making strides in the QMJHL, he could be a guy that in the 2027 World Juniors makes an impact, because he's just 18 years old right now. He was one of the youngest players at this draft. So I'm excited for Luca Beckman. I think that we have him in a fair spot here where we're setting some expectations for him and also understanding that there's still a lot of room for growth in his game. So I'm excited to see what he's got coming up next. He makes his debut on our organizational value rankings at, as I fly around here, 43rd overall.
Nice. That was a quick little spoiler alert there for people paying attention. But yes, Luca Beckman.
It was last year's graphic. So
it was last year. Okay, scratch that.
So no spoilers. People can double check the stats and see that as well.
Yep. Luca Beckman here, back tendies. Excited for both these guys.
Yeah, how can you not be? And Pillsy, you know what's wild? With the way Ottawa's been collecting goaltenders, we got more goalies to come. We've also got more tiers to come. That is the prospect tier. No, I'm not going to read off every single name because we've just gone from 65 all the way to 43 on our organizational value rankings. The Belleville tier is next, followed by NHL depth prospects, role NHLers, blue chippers, the core, and the franchise talent. This will all be complete well before the Senators' regular season starts, and we're also going to put them all in one long video with timestamps that you can go check out before the regular season to get caught up on what these Ottawa Senators are looking like and where they're going to play in 2025-26. Pillsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts for me is, Ross, it's an exciting time of year when Sens Prospects on Twitter gets things going again, because players are starting with their teams internationally around the world. And so go check out our guy at Sens Prospects to see some highlights from some of the newest picks. Blake Vanek, shootout winner, Trofimov playing in the MHL, and surprise to us, Ross, or at least to me, Vladimir Nikitin is in the USHL. So it's great to see these guys getting their season started. He's
the best Sens prospects, and we had him on. He dominated us in a Ring of Honor this summer, but he's the best. And speaking of former Sens prospects, a former one, Alex Formenton, obviously been in the news the last number of years with the sexual assault scandal in London, Ontario. He has not been cleared to play in the NHL, so I think the conversation really ends there. Carter Hart and the others all in the same boat, but it is worth noting that Alex Formenton's rights are still with the Ottawa Senators. They could have the opportunity to trade him if there is a time where they are reinstated, but he is signed in Ambrio Piotta, which is the same team that he played with while the trial was ongoing. Pillsy, I looked up their roster, and I don't know if their GM is a former Sens fan or what, but Chris Tierney plays there, and so does Chris DiDomenico. So there you go. There's your random Sens abroad news of the day. But yeah, don't expect Alex Formenton to be playing for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, Yeah, or even in the NHL, I think would be surprising. But man, DiDomenico, that's a blast from the past. That was one of Guy Boucher's guys. He was a fun guy to follow along with.
Dude, remember when Chris Tierney had like 40 assists in his first season with Ottawa? We're like, this guy is sick.
Yeah, he was a nice little throw-in in that trade that the Senators needed NHL bodies.
And then he lost a step and he didn't have a step to lose.
Yeah, that was it.
But good hockey IQ, good playmaker. I'm sure he's doing okay in the Swiss League. But for today, we say goodbye. We got power play. There was a time where Chris Tierney was on the Sens power play. Like, just think back to those times and it makes you feel a lot better where the Sens are right now. Oh boy. We're going to break down what we would like to see for the Ottawa Senators power plays tomorrow on Locked On Senators. For today, we say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and engaging with the show. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.